So most of the time when I think of settling, there's attorneys that litigate and there's attorneys that settle. The thing that comes to mind is when you settle, you're going. The word settle means you're settling for less. So to explain to me how stream settle works, so that you don't have to settle for less.
And I think that's one of the assumptions that are made by most of our customers when we first talk to them is, when we first started telling them about the product, we told them, hey, we get your cases settled faster. And we quickly realized that that wasn't an effective pitch because when they heard that, when lawyers would hear that, they would think, okay, well then, the cost of that is going to be value. We're going to have to accept less money.
Right, right.
And then, so we learned to fine tune it. And now our pitch to both sides is same settlement, just much earlier. So same settlement amount. We're not asking the injured party or the aggrieved party to take less. We're just finding a way to get the parties there quicker. Because as the case drags on, the defendant or the insurance company or the business on the other side, they're spending a ton of money paying lawyers by the hour, paying for every deposition, paying for experts. All that stuff adds up to a tremendous amount of money. Meanwhile, on the other side, you've got the injured party or the aggrieved party, their lawyer, their staff, and they're all spending money too. And we know ultimately over 90% of these cases settle. So it just didn't make sense to me that we spend so much time litigating and so much money litigating and so much stress in this process when we could just short circuit and get it done a lot quicker if we didn't have these barriers of posturing in the way.
So you said triple blind. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's triple blind. That means that no one can see their opponent's number, and our software is also blind to the actual numbers. So the way it works is the computations are done on the user's machines, and they pass through our server in an encrypted format where we can't see the numbers. And then it's really the users that tell us, hey, the case is settled. Now, all this is automated. Our users have no, I mean, to them, it looks seamless and automated, but there's a real, complicated encryption protocol that's going on that ensures that only the person putting their number in has access to that number and can see that number. And so that's, it's different from some of the competitors that we have where, they have access to the number. So if one side hires that competitor or one side hires that company to help them resolve the case, and then the other side's brought on, there's trust issues there still because they're like, okay, well, I don't want to give my number to the company you hired, right? And so we really maintain ourselves as a neutral party in the space, and then just add a layer of technological security to that to ensure that even we can't see the number.
So when they put in, do they put in like a range number? This is the range we're willing to accept, and then the other side, this is the range we're willing to accept. Is that how basically how it works?
So we use one number, and it's called the true settlement threshold. So that's all we're concerned about with the parties. What are you willing? What's the bottom line that you're willing to accept to the plaintiff, and what's the top number that you're willing to pay to the defense? That's going to get us away. Even ranges involve posturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, well, if you would accept the bottom of the range, then that's really your threshold. And so that's what we want the parties to put in is their true settlement threshold. And let's see if we have an overlap in those. And if so, then we split it right down the middle of the threshold. And so each party does at least as well as they were willing to do. And most of the time they do better than what they were willing to do.
Oh, so if if it ends up that it's closer to one side than the other, but it's within the two thresholds, then you split it in half. Is
Yeah,
that
so
right?
like if the defense puts in that they'll pay 1 million and the plaintiff puts in that they would accept 950, the settlement's going to be at 975. So the plaintiff's getting 25 more than they were willing to accept, and the insurance company or the defendant is paying 25,000 less than they were willing to pay.
Right. Yep. I got it. So what happens if it that they don't the numbers don't cross over? Do you have a second round, or is that the end of it? How does that work?
So it's on the parties. They can go ahead right away and try again if they want. There's zero charge to test your numbers. We don't charge any fees to access our platform or anything like that. We only charge a fee until once there's a settlement on our platform. So they can put their numbers in, and what we try to emphasize is like, look, if you put your true threshold in, there shouldn't need to be a second round until something has changed in the case, right? Because if both sides are doing it right, then their threshold shouldn't be different just based on the fact that there was no overlap, right?
Right.
That's not material information that should affect their threshold. But if they go and they take another deposition, they learn some new facts about the case, and that's usually what can bring the parties closer together in their positions.